What do a power line under Lake Ontario, a buzzer-beating 3, and Stake for Life have in common? They all say something about Toronto right now, how we're powering up, how we're winning, and how we're wooing our stars. Quick Toronto weather. Around 4 degrees Celsius, between 2 and 5, with rain. First up, an infrastructure move with big implications. The Ontario government has approved an underwater transmission line running from the Darlington Nuclear Generating Station to Toronto. The plan would feed roughly 900 megawatts into the city, enough capacity to enable about 285,000 new homes, while creating thousands of jobs. Why underwater? Officials say the route is more direct, more cost-effective, and more resilient to extreme weather than an overland option. The province is pairing this with the first competitive transmission procurement led by the IESO, which they say should keep costs in check for families. Toronto's core is projected to hit its electricity capacity sometime in the 2030s, so this cable is about getting ahead of the curve. Energy security, climate resilience, and growth all meet right here. From power to property, the Toronto housing market remains sluggish. Recent market data show Greater Toronto home sales were down about 9% year over year in December, with the average selling price dipping roughly 5%. Townhouses saw the steepest decline in sales, over 20%, even as new listings ticked up slightly. The message from agents: buyers are still cautious amid economic uncertainty. If you're on the sidelines, keep a close eye on rate expectations this quarter. Small shifts in sentiment could mean more activity by spring. To national and global news shaping Canadian conversations. Former U.S. President Donald Trump asserted that the United States will support NATO, even as tensions swirl over Greenland. The White House has not dismissed the possibility of using military force to assert control over Greenland, which has alarmed allies. Trump also revisited claims that he pressed NATO members to boost defense spending and questioned whether NATO would back the U.S. in a crisis. The backdrop here includes a recent U.S. strike in Venezuela that reportedly captured President Nicolas Maduro, prompting Trump to revive talk of acquiring Greenland. NATO members, including Canada, reaffirmed that Greenland's future is a matter for Denmark and Greenland. Canadian officials, Prime Minister Mark Carney among them, have publicly backed Greenland's sovereignty and planned diplomatic outreach in the region. Expect Ottawa to keep emphasizing rules, alliances, and sovereignty in what could become a bigger flashpoint. That Venezuela strike is already rippling through travel plans. Canadian tourists are second-guessing trips to the ABC Islands, Aruba, Bonaire, and Curaçao, just off Venezuela's coast. Travel agents report cancellations as some Canadians opt to postpone or pivot to destinations farther from the tensions. If you've got a ticket booked, check your insurance fine print, monitor federal travel advisories, and talk to your agent about flexible options. In Ottawa, a round of national honors with a hometown angle. 6 Carleton University community members have been appointed to the Order of Canada. Among them, Rosalie Silberman Abella, named a companion for her profound impact on social and legal policy and human rights, and Janice Charette, named an officer for distinguished public service as clerk of the Privy Council and as a diplomat. It's a reminder that the capital's institutions continue to shape the country's civic and cultural life. On to sports, and what a night for the Raptors. Emmanuel quickly drilled a game-winning 3 at the buzzer to beat the Hornets 97-96, capping a fourth-quarter rally from down 10. R.J. Barrett poured in 28 with 7 boards, and Toronto forced 18 Charlotte turnovers while committing just 6. That's now 5 wins in 6 games as the new-look core finds its rhythm. The Raptors had struggled against Charlotte earlier this season, including a lopsided loss, so this one matters for momentum and confidence on the road. LaMelo Ball's layup with 1.6 seconds left briefly flipped the script, but quickly wrote the last line. If the defense keeps creating extra possessions like that, the offense has a path to grind out tight ones. Hockey night optimism for the Buds' depth. The Maple Leafs' third line of Easton Cowan, Nicholas Robertson, and Nicholas Roy continues to click. They opened the scoring in a 4-1 win over Florida, and coach Craig Berube has tipped his cap to their unexpected chemistry. Roy says he's loving the pace and skill on his wings, and it shows. Hard forechecks, quick touch plays, and secondary scoring that takes heat off the top six. It's exactly the kind of balance the Leafs need over an 82-game grind. Around the league, the latest power rankings have the Edmonton Oilers and Montreal Canadiens pacing Canadian teams at 13th and 14th overall. Edmonton's underlying numbers are solid, top 10 in expected goals differential, while Connor McDavid is on a 6-team game streak with 39 points in that span. Defensive lapses and goaltending remain the question marks. Montreal sits 7th in points percentage and 7th in goals per game. If they can get league average goaltending, they're a realistic top 3 finisher in their division. For Toronto, the takeaway is clear. Canadian rivals are trending, and the margin for seeding down the stretch will be thin. A quick national hot stove note from TSN's panels. Debate continues over whether it was a mistake for Sheldon Keefe to leave Jacob Markstrom in for all 9 goals during a recent Devils loss. Coaches walk a tightrope between letting a veteran battle and protecting the room. Not our circus, but always instructive for how bench decisions ripple into the next game. And a lighter off-season carrot for Blue Jays fans dreaming of extensions. Animal Steakhouse in Toronto is offering Bo Bichette steak for life if he signs long-term with the Jays. It's tongue-in-cheek, sure, but also a very Toronto way to court continuity. Mix a little culinary flair with baseball loyalty. If only arbitration hearings came with ribeyes. Before we go, one more look outside. Around 4 degrees Celsius with rain today. Keep the umbrella handy. That's it for now. If you've got thoughts on the underwater cable plan, travel plans you've changed, or your favorite Bo Bichette order, send us a note. We'll be back tomorrow with more Toronto stories, a national lens, and your Leafs and Raptors fix.